Let's talk pH balance. This can be a very complex subject. A lot of times, sadly, professionals don't have a good understanding of pH. We learn this in school. We hear this through marketing of products, whether it be the salespeople coming to us, the professionals, or just as a consumer, we hear about pH balance. We're going to take a quick overview to simplify this complex subject. So what is pH? pH stands for potential of hydrogen. Something is either acid, alkaline, or neutral. Skin, being an organ, not only an organ, but the largest organ of the body, is acid in nature. And its pH balance on a pH scale would range between 4.5 to 5.5. The opposite of acid is alkaline. And so the goal when we are working with our client's skin, when we are prescribing products for our clients, and when we are consulting with our clients, is having a good understanding of the products that we are using, meaning the pH balance, and of course the ingredients, but also having a very good understanding of the pH balance of the products that our clients are using at home. So why is skin acid in nature? Why is it on a pH scale from 4.5 to 5.5? There are three very specific reasons we are born with this acid pH. First of all, it is there to repel bacteria. Bacteria cannot live in an acid environment, it dies. So we are filled with bacteria all around us. As this bacteria touches our skin, this acid mantle we neither see nor feel repels this bacteria. This pH of our skin is created through our oil from our hair follicle and our perspiration through our sweat gland. And the combination of the two create the pH balance. It also creates our moisture balance. So number one, again, to reiterate, the pH 4.5 to 5.5 is to repel bacteria. So nothing invades our body and harms it, our internal, and protects us from the world we live in. Number two, skin is acid in nature because it keeps it hard. Skin is hard, it is not soft. That's not what we hear when we talk about products and we talk about treatments, but skin is actually hard. If you remember, in the layer of the skin where the cells reproduce, as they move up to the surface of the skin, they are plump, full of moisture. And as they begin to move up, they begin to flatten, dehydrate. And when they reach a certain level, they convert into a hardened protein called keratin, of which our hair and nails are made out of. So all of these billions of hardened cells held together with our oil and our dirt becomes our weatherproofing. Okay, skin is hard. It is there to protect everything internally, every cell, every tissue, every organ, every body system. And lastly, skin is acid in nature to keep it supple, to keep it moisturized. We have our own natural moisture system, and the pH balance of our skin is there to maintain that moisture system. So to review, pH balance 4.5 to 5.5 to keep skin healthy. It is acid in nature to repel bacteria, to keep the skin hard, to protect our internal organs, and lastly, to keep the skin supple. The opposite of acid is alkaline. So if acid is going to repel bacteria, alkaline is going to attract bacteria. If our client has acne, this is something we need to know. First of all, we need to make sure that what we are using in the treatment room is not alkaline pH, because that's only going to attract more bacteria. And more importantly, or just as importantly, we want to be sure that whatever the client is using at home is not alkaline. Because see, if they're using alkaline type products, it really doesn't matter how good that acne treatment was in the treatment room. That bacteria is going to continue to invade the skin and continue to spread that infection. So we need to know what pH balance of the products that our clients are using at home. Acid hardens, alkaline will soften. Alkaline also dries. Remember, acid 4.5 to 5.5 is going to keep the skin moist and supple, moisturized. If it is alkaline, it's going to dry the skin, which in turn means now we're going to need a moisturizer, which is going to coat the skin, and that adds buildup and it plugs those pores as well. So we want to keep it in that range. Let's talk about products that fall below that 4.5. And this is very prevalent in our treatment rooms and most certainly over-the-counter products. When a product falls below 4.5 on a pH scale, what it's doing is lowering the pH of the skin. And why do we do this? Because we want to cause a reaction within the skin, okay? What are the dangers when we lower that pH? Well, a couple things. Number one, we can make the skin more sensitized. We can dry the skin by lowering the pH. That skin can become more sensitized. A lot of times when a client is using a product or products that have a pH below that 4.5, it can cause ruddiness in the skin. And many times you're going to see this with acne clients, people who suffer from excess oil. They have this ruddy complexion, and many times it's due to astringents, alpha hydroxy, salicylics, glycolics. All of those type of ingredients, witch hazels, are intended to lower the pH, but we have to ask ourselves, what's happening to the skin when that pH is lowered? We market and we're taught that it helps to exfoliate, it helps to regenerate, it helps for cell renewal, it helps with fine lines and premature aging. But how does it do this? And this is the key to really understanding what you're doing, why you're doing it, is it working or isn't it when you're using your products, and most certainly in understanding what the client's using at home. Products that fall below the 4.5 on a pH scale are going to burn the skin. Now, of course, we don't say this to the client, but as professionals, we must never lose sight that what we are actually doing to the skin is burning it in a very controlled way. And we have to know when to burn and when not to burn. Okay, we have to always be cognizant of what we're doing and why we're doing it. Most certainly, there are many professionals and most certainly many consumers out there who are doing too much burning to their skin due to the products that they use. Is there a time to change the pH of the skin? The answer is yes. Is that healthy for the skin? The answer is no. Healthy skin is 4.5 to 5.5. That's what keeps us healthy, internally, externally. As professionals, we may need to play with that pH a little bit to get the results we're looking for. But the end goal should always be, when the skin is healthy, to bring and use whatever products to 4.5 to 5.5. That is healthy skin. And in a skincare regimen, many times this happens is that we use, let's say, a cleanser that the pH may be, I don't know, 3.5 for an example. And then we use a toner that brings the pH back. What I want you to ask yourself is why? Why are we changing the pH in a daily skincare routine? What would be the purpose of that? If healthy skin is 4.5 to 5.5, it only makes sense from an anatomical standpoint, from a science-based standpoint, to keep that skin where it's supposed to be. Remember, when we change it to more alkaline, when we change it to a lower acid, we are causing a reaction in the skin. Skin is not meant to be reactive. It is there to protect us. It is there to keep us alive every single day of our life. So pH can be very simple. The products you use, the products your clients use, should always be at that pH balanced, meeting the requirements of skin as an organ.